Good morning and welcome to this week's Fiverific live craft and chat, where we craft and chat live, or we try to. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. I was playing with some stuff, so I'm just trying to fix up the things I changed. All right, like that's where we're at. Sally has popped in her Sal's Crochet Creation member for 13 months. Hello, Sally. It's good to see you. Our mods today, we have got Kelly Pole, we've got Sally, and we'll probably have another couple popping in, so be kind to the mods. They do nice things for us. It is the first day of December here in, normally I would have said sunny Queensland, but it is not sunny Queensland today. It is cold and miserable, and it's gearing up to be the coldest December day in Queensland's recorded history of weather. So, which, like if you're in the US and stuff, you'll be like, well, it's not that cold. But yeah, it is cold considering it's supposed to be summer here. Yeah, Tyler's like, she wet. Yeah, it's raining. It is raining. It is gray. It is cold. I actually am loving it because I had to do like a whole pile of running around stuff yesterday. And I was like, I do not want to do this in the heat. And yesterday the temperature dropped, and then today it's colder again. So I was just like, oh my goodness, that is so good for me. Other people are like, I have plans like that involve sunshine. None of my plans involve sunshine pretty well ever. Bye, Abby. So good morning to everybody in the chat. Okay, so just before the live stream has started, which is part of the reason why I was running like a minute or two late, is we had a courier delivery. And the courier delivery is the next Attic 24 kit. So, if you want me to open that, like, let me know and I will see what I can do. Also, I do have craft to work on today. I do have permission from the designer, so that is cool, and we can go into that as well. So much going on. I'm just going to check my internet connection because it looks quite blurry on the YouTubes right now. It does. But anyway, you can't do anything about that while I am here because everything else on my end looks great. It could just be that it's streaming at a low speed. I'm just checking. Oh, yeah. That's my end. It's totally cool. I was saving data by making it low. Oh, yeah, Kelly, no problems at all. Leanne's craft room is in the house as well. Open it. We need to see the pretty colors. Oh, yes, please share the delivery. All right, hang on. I grabbed scissors and everything, but I did set up my craft first. So I'm just going to move that to the side. Moving all the things over. All right. I wiped this table. It needs a new wipe. Hey, Leslie, welcome to the chat. Okay, I'm just double checking like delivery information. Let's switch camera. Oh, that's so bright. Let's get it out of this satchel so that the camera can cope better. So scissors. Am I the only person who okay, this is yarn, be careful with the scissors. You could legit ruin all of your yarn. Okay. Oh, look at these colors. I'm going to leave that paperwork in there. It is the Spring Frost Blanket Cowl. There are 15 colors in here. This is my first special DK project, okay? So this is I've been using, I don't have it on me. I've been using the DK for the Stylecraft Heathers for the other blanket. Here we go. These are our 15 colors in the following colors. There's no printed pattern for this one because it is full pattern will be printed as part of the crochet along starting January 6th. And then weekly installments. So everyone's got time to get in and get it. So this is kind of a mild color. Stylecraft Babies. Blue Marl. There we go. That's the first color. So I'm just going to see if I can just drop this light down just a little so we can just see these colors a little better. This is a very soft blue. This is a silvery gray. What's it called? A hint of silver. Yep. So it is. This is all very Eastery, very muted pale colors. There's some really nice sheen on this yarn, which is surprising me. Duck egg, which is a soft green. Lots and lots of shades of greens and blues and pinks and purples, which, you know, I'm in for. Pale rose, wisteria. Do you want me to keep going, or are you happy enough just to look through the bag? I can keep bringing it. It is a bit blown out. Yep. Because I color set it on different yarn, not pale yarn. Baby blue and pistachio. The pistachio is quite bright, but maybe not quite as bright as what the camera is showing us. Maybe if we put it next to something else. Oh yeah, there we go. That tones it down a little. Hey Steph, welcome to the chat. You can't stay, but I'm so happy you popped in. Good morning to everybody. Oops, just whacked the microphone. Got more lightish blue colors, cloud blue and spearmint. It's a very, very nice pack of colors. I like this purple. Parma violet. And then we've got, where are we? Meadow, powder pink. I'm running out of room on the table, everybody. There's only so much space I get. There's 15 balls. Mushroom, which is, it's actually a very nice mushroom. Louis, that's not for you. That's not for you, dude. It's like, ha ha ha. Louis was trying to take the entire satchel earlier, and we had a discussion over ownership. He disagreed, but I still kept it. There's some white, and he felt that plastic belongs to him. Our final color is Lincoln. So I'm just going to pop together all the sort of greens issues. I definitely considered this more of a green. There we go. So these are our kind of green tones. That doesn't look so green next to this, but it is definitely a greener than blue. So I'll put them back in the bag. And then we've got our bluey tones, which there's the 3 of those, including this baby marl one. It does feel a little different, but I like that it's marled. It'll create a really nice texture. I was watching a live where the host did cut her hand-dyed yarn with scissors while opening it. Oh, I can imagine. Hey, get out of that stuff. And then we have the silver as well, so we'll throw that in, and the white. So we've got those 5. Silver, white, and all the blues. In you go. And then the sort of purpley, I mean, I don't know if I would consider that more pinky or more purpley, but there's the pinks and the purples. Hang on, I'll just... There we go, bring that over. There are more pinks and purples. And that's our 15 colors. So, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's going to make a beautiful blanket. Now I just have to get some other projects finished, because I've cast on a few projects since I started the Queen, since I finished the Queen. Most of them are small. I'm just going to get that close so Stinky Lou Face can't get in. Ha ha ha. no dogs can get in the yarn. So what do you think? What did you think of that? Do you think that's good? Is there a picture of what the end pattern will look like? There is. It's on the Attic 24 website for the Spring Frost cowl. But I don't have one on me, if that makes any sense. I don't have one handy to show you. But if you jump over to Attic 24, their website, I think it's a typepad.com. I don't know their URL. But yeah, it's a Spring Frost cowl, and that will be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. It's just it's all stripes, so it's all those colors, those beautiful stripes, which I'm really, really looking forward to. I've been working away on because it's December now, so obviously I need to start the Christmas presents. No, I've actually gotten a couple done already, and they're popped aside. But I've started. I've decided, like, my dad doesn't watch this stream, so nobody tell my dad, but I've decided that the other Attic 24 blanket that I'm doing, the fireside blanket, I'm sending to my dad for Christmas. I think it's in colors and tones that he will just absolutely love. And he bought a house earlier this year, and he did ask if I could make him a throw for his blanket. So a throw for his blanket, a throw for his couch. Thank you, Sally. There we go. So if you go to the Attic 24 website, I think it's one of the most recent posts. It's the photos of the project. Freaky says that December doesn't start there yet, not for another few hours. Well, we're from the future, and December is here. Just topping up my tea. So yeah, so I'm doing that one for my dad. I want to make a couple of beanies for my brother Daniel. And I'm also just working on a cow. So I mean, I've got more Squishmallow. Like, I'm just trying to think. What have I shown you? What of my big wool show orders have I already shown you? I showed you all the 4-ply that I got from Yarns by the Bay, I think. And I showed you my 11T1 windmills order that came in last week. I have not showed you my HalfBaked HandDyed yet. And there's one more box here. I'm just seeing what's in it. Oh. And I got a cup. I got a cup from Dying for You. While we were doing the live streams, we were talking about how I keep losing my little things for my weaving loom to bring for warping up the loom. So she made me a couple. There's a pink one here too. So she's made me a couple to add so I can try not to lose them. So yeah. Okay. So maybe. All right. Okay. All right. I'll venture backwards and forwards and try and grab everything and just re-show it. So I've got those, which we discussed, but I also got one of her cups, which is hilarious. It says, "I won't buy any more yarn until I used up what I already have," I said. And then I laughed and I laughed and I laughed. That's totally me. I've actually said that. So I have got that cup, which I should probably wash and put in the kitchen. But I was leaving all the things in boxes so that I remembered to unbox them for you guys. So there's that one. Then we have my 11T1 windmills order. Francis says I'm warping up my loom right now. Yep. There was no live last week. My throat's still a little scratchy, but I'm coping with it. Okay, so 11T1 windmills. I got her beginner spindle kit and some stitch markers. So let us do this. So in the beginner spindle kit, you get a spindle, you get a yarn gauge, and you get 50 grams worth of fluff that is spindler friendly. Also, I believe, now I'm not sure, but I believe that when you order the yarn, it matches the gauge pretty closely. So, yeah, so I got this. Now, I do have a concern, okay? My concern is the spindle. Now, it looks to me like she has based this off the Ashford beginner spindle, which, if you've watched my show before, you know that I have zero respect for. I think it's too big and too heavy for a beginner spindler. And this has got some weight to it. This is 60 odd grams. So I think that if you are wanting to spin anything less than a bulky, chunky yarn, you, as a beginner, you'll probably fail. And that's what I don't like about the big, chunky spindles, is they do lead you to, like, they line you up for failing. Sorry, my stutter's been pretty bad this week. My brain's running at 100 miles an hour, so I've got to try and slow it down. What if you're allergic to the color of the fiber? You get to pick. Like, there's a pack. There's different packs, and you get to choose your color pack. So yeah, you don't have to worry about getting pink pewter if you wanted the green. You can just order the green. So the fiber itself is a pure Corriedale, which I think is a great beginner fiber. It's not super soft, but it will spin like a dream. Honestly, it will spin beautifully. But my concern is this spindle is too heavy for a beginner. But in saying that, that's not 1121 Windmill's fault, especially if they've gone sort of off what Ashford do, which Ashford are a big brand and you would assume they know what they're doing. I hate their beginner spindle pack. So I think but I think it's gorgeous. Like, look at this. It's all etched in too. That's all cut in. It's not just painted on. And she's made notches in the sides to make it easier for putting your hook on. I think there's a lot of really positive things about it. I just think this plastic plate could have been thinner, which would have reduced the weight. That's my personal opinion. There's probably people out there who absolutely love it. And I haven't actually used it yet, as you can see, because I've been waiting. So I will have to have a go, and I will reserve my final judgment until I've had a go. But I'm not hopeful, honestly. And then I also, I got, she's got some instructions here for shiny spindles. I recommend spinning over a soft floor like carpet or lay down a blanket. Spinnacles, that's a new word for them. Spindles can chip or crack if dropped on hard surfaces. If you need any help getting started, check out my beginner series. So that is awesome as well. There's a little pack of peppermint tea. And then I also got her Angry Birds. So these are all the Australian native birds that will take you out. Or yell at you. So we've got the ibis. Okay, I hope you can see that. We've got an ibis, magpie, a seagull, a cassowary, and a kookaburra. And they will all take you out. And I think these are gorgeous. The detail in them is lovely. I chose these are for knitting, so they're the closed hexes. So they will be a lot of fun. The Angry Birds are awesome. They're super lightweight as well, and they're very smooth for what they are. I can't see them snagging your yarn too hard. They are still wood, so there is, a little bit of texture there, but I think that they would be good. And then also, because I am a tragic Big Bang Theory lover, I got the Scissors Paper Rock Lizard Spock. I actually have this on a shirt as well that I bought quite a few years ago. So scissors, paper, rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock, and a bazinga. And I got these on the clasps, so I can use them for knitting and crochet. So yeah. Actually, do you know what? Like Lisby's saying, where's the emu? That could be an emu and not a cassowary. Although I do think it's a cassowary. I'd have to double check. But yeah, so I got these as well. These are made out of plastic rather than wood. They're much smoother. And they're all different colors and they're fun. They're just fun. I got those because they were fun. So that was my 1121 Windmills order. And it was all packaged up very nicely, and the spindle was all bubble wrapped, and then it was all shipped in a box, which I love when spindles are shipped in boxes. So that's out of the way. Just before the show, but I still consider it a big wool show purchase. I grabbed some Beersheba Castledale. So both of these are the same but in different colors. So we've got violets and robin's egg, or robin's gift, I should say. And I love these colors. They are just amazing. And I have a bag somewhere with 4 skeins of sock yarn in it. What have I done with that? Found it. All right. Okay. And so Yarns by the Bay, she was showing these beautiful colors that she had. I think it was a pack. And I missed out on the pack because I couldn't shop early enough. So I made similar-ish colors, different but similar. So this is her navy. So it's a really beautiful deep dark blue. It is semi-tonal. I think you can see a little bit of the semitones happening there. Then we've got the olive, which I just think is a beautiful olive. And then I picked up Hidden Garden, which I don't know. I just loved that one very much. So I got that one. And then also Aurora. So again, I loved it very much. And then also the Christmas pack, which was this beautiful, I don't think it's got a name, but it's a deep purple. It's a dark gray purple and little matching mini. So definitely loved that. And a beautiful little card, little thank you card from Yarns by the Bay. But yeah, gorgeous, just absolutely gorgeous. And I think that was everything. I didn't think I'd went too hard this year. I mean, that's pretty hard, honestly, for me. I've been very good with my yarn purchasing, and I just bought the fireside kit, so I was feeling a bit naughty. So yeah. But I don't know what I'm going to make with this. I just bought it because I love those colors, and they would all work together in a big project. So yeah. Let me have a look here. Let's have a quick look in the chat. What would be a good spinner for a beginner? That's an interesting question, Molly. Now this is just my opinion, okay? As someone who teaches people how to spin on spindles, my opinion is something that is comfortable for you. So you have to think about your own physicality, okay? So are you able to keep your arm up in the air high and keep spinning and keep your arm up in the air? I've got very big, fat, heavy arms, and I've got a busted shoulder. So drop spindles are not always the best for me. So I tend to lean more into the supported spindles, and that's just because of my own personal physicality. But if you can do that, if you're happy enough to do that, and you can keep going with that, and awesome, that's great, then you've got more choices. You can go Turkish spindle, you can go drop spindle, and then you can go top whirl or bottom whirl drop spindle. Now I think a top whirl drop spindle is just fine, which is what that one was. That one was a top whirl drop spindle, but I would aim for something 30 to 40 grams. Anything over 40 grams I wouldn't buy, honestly. Now that's my opinion, but anything over 40 grams, I just move right along. So what happens is the yarn that you're spinning has to be able to support the weight of the spindle. So you need to be able to get some twist in it to hook it on. And then as it's spinning, it has to be able to support that additional weight. And not just the weight of the spindle, but as you get further and further and further through the project, it's got to be able to support the weight of all the extra yarn you've put on there. So I think that unless you're planning on spinning like an 8-ply or something chunkier than that, anything over 40 grams is probably not super useful, especially while you're learning. Now, once you've got everything down pat and you're comfortable with it, you can make yarn with anything, all right? But when you're very first starting, I try to set everybody up for success so that their first spin works. And for me, I find a lighter spindle helps with that. So that would be my suggestion, is go looking, go hunting for something. Make sure you're buying from a reputable buyer, because they need to still be centered. They need to spin and not swing all over the place. They need to spin and hold their position. So you need to be able to make sure that it doesn't swing everywhere. And this is an excellent point. Francis says, as a beginner, you often don't put enough twist in, and the twist is where the strength is. Otherwise, the fibers just keep coming apart. So you've got to get a decent amount of twist in there, which creates the strength. And if you're trying to get twist in there while there's weight pulling it as well, you're battling two things at the same time. And I just don't know if that's the wisest choice for beginners. Freaky says, if you've got a dowel rod and a chunk of wood, you can make your own spindle. Yep. Look, I've seen people at events using a CD blue tacked onto a pencil. I've seen people stab a pencil into an apple. Like, if you want to make yarn, you can use whatever. Absolutely, you can use whatever. But if you want to buy a spindle that you're going to be able to use, you're 100% certain it's good, make sure you're buying from a reputable dealer. Check its star ratings, check its comments, because regular spindlers will actually comment that this was off center. If it's off center, you don't want it. Hang on, what's this one here? Great question, Molly. I'm going to purchase my husband one as well. So would a fella require a different one? No. Bigger hands? No. Makes no difference. No. So yeah, you don't, it's a way, it's not about the, like, once you've decided the user's physicality and choose a spindle type, the weight is not about the user, the weight is about the yarn and the fiber. So yeah. Any other questions about my haul? I've got one more thing to show you, but I'll be showing you once I start knitting, because I've already cast on with it. I basically opened it out of the box, messaged a friend group going, I need a pattern for this yarn. And they went, I've got this pattern. Like, I didn't even give them a chance to find the pattern. I was like, this one. Because I knew it was a good pattern, and it went out with the Mystery Lace Club. So if you were a Mystery Lace Club member, I can't remember which month, but one of them, one of the months of the 3 years it ran, it's definitely, Linda says, you want to look at Golding spindles just for the prettiness, not the price. Yeah, look at the Golding spindles, don't buy a Golding spindle. That's what I say. I'm not going to use a tool that I will cry if I break it, because my credit card would weep with me. We'd lay on the floor and cry. Francis says, I'm jealous of the haul. I'm broke, so no purchases for me this year. Yeah, I didn't realize I'd bought quite so much. I mean, the Beersheba fluff I bought just before the event. Like, it was after I'd interviewed Wendy for her sponsor piece. And I was just like, you know what? I really like those two colors and they will go. And they were on her website already. So I just bought those. I didn't get any sort of special deal. But yeah, so I was just, but like, you know, a couple of things from here, a couple of things from there. Yeah. Deb says, when are you delivering all the squishiness to me? What squishy? Like, I'm like sitting here thinking, did I promise Deb some squishiness? Like, I don't know if I did. Where Jackie, I've missed some context. Yes, I have it. I must get it out and do it. Yeah, I think I've missed context. Freaky says, I've got a couple of the Snyder spindles. Both are Turkish. One is bigger. Okay, so if you want a good place to go and grab yourself a drop spindle, Snyder spindles also do drop spindles, and I've got one of those, and I think it's wonderful personally. I am a huge fan of Snyder spindles. There's a link over on my Facebook page, not Facebook page, on my website. I absolutely love Snyder spindles. Did I pull? No, I didn't pull out the drop. I've only got Turkish out. The drop's just over there. We showed it the other day when we were showing all our spindles the week before last. Do you have an idea of what your beautiful hand-dyed yarns will be? No, I don't know. I just thought one of those, like, what I was thinking is a lot of those beautiful big, I call them, shanklets. They're the big blankets that are shawls. They're going out blankets is basically what they are. And I've been watching a lot of you making the latest West Knits one. And while that one's probably not my cup of tea, it was like all the multiple colors and things like that. And there's quite a few of them out over the years that I've looked at going, oh my gosh, I'd love that. But I don't have enough colors that'll work with it, where I bought enough colors that should work with it. So I've got some options. Oh, Deb just wants to steal all my things. Okay. All right. Yep. Jackie, that is the one. There is a link in the description of this video of the pattern that I am currently working on. It is a Laura Nelkin. It is called Reversible Listado. I'm using DK because I bought one of the HalfBaked HandDyed long color repeat DK balls. Now I don't think she's currently got any on her website, but I have also linked the HalfBaked HandDyed website as well. So you could go and check it out. It is, I'm just like, there's people in the chat talking about stealing my squishies. You cannot have I will fight you for them. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So basically it arrived. I opened it, unwrapped it out of its tissue paper, looked at it, checked its meterage, jumped online, grabbed a pattern, dug out needles, and cast it on. Like, it was a matter of minutes, like not even an hour. It was a matter of minutes. Now, I did contact Laura, who is amazing, and she has given permission for me to work on this project during the live. Standard deal, same deal as when I was working on the Queen. I don't give you guys the pattern. The pattern's in the links. You can go and get it from there. And it is basically with this particular ball of yarn, there's no color changing. So I just had to get it. Now, on the ball, it did say that you could get, like, a pile of rows. It had like a rough gauge for another pattern that she'd worked on, how many rows you could get in a color. Now, this particular pattern had lots more stitches. So this one's got 160 odd stitches. And so obviously I will get a few less rows, but I'm getting 3 to 4 rows in each color before it changes color, which for a long color repeat in DK is amazing. And I have to say, it's so squishy and beautiful. And I think this yarn, what she's using for these long color repeat 8-ply, so it's her 8-ply sock yarn, I think it would make the most amazing cables. It is a beautiful round yarn. I think cables would just explode onto you, which I absolutely love. Jackie, you're right. Sometimes the yarn just speaks to you. Yeah, like I was literally sitting there crocheting on the blanket for my dad, like on the fireside blanket, which I'm loving working on, mind you. And I'm still weaving in ends as I go, and I'm over a third the way through now, so I'm super excited. But this one was just, this is what it had to be, and I'm so happy with how it's looking. That I contacted Laura and I said, hey Laura, can I work on the Listado Cowl as my project in hand during my live streams? And I just said, like, all her links are in the socials below, in the description below. And oops, I can't even do it. I've got the wrong glasses on for this task. And she just replied back with, like, yeah. And thank you for asking, because I know some of you are confused by my refusal to work on a project on camera until I've spoken to the designer. Oops, guys, that's a courier delivery, and I will be back in just 1 second. Sorry, everybody. The timing was amazing. That one was something for Abby for Christmas, and she'd gone out. So we had an issue where a parcel came and I thought it was something for the new setup. So I've opened it up and then I had to quickly close it because she's trying to get her eyes in there, and it was one of her Christmas presents. So I was just like, oh, so Abby's just messaging me. Thanks, Abs. It's just reminded me that I have an app open that's dinging through the computer. Let's have a look. Oh, Louis nicked off with the yarn. Wait, give that back. He has taste. He's just like little tiny dogs grabbed the top of this bag and is just dragging it away. Goodness me. It's like nothing is safe. Well, okay. Let's look in the comments here. Yarn loves to marinate. A lot of my yarn likes to marinate. Absolutely. Jackie says, while it's not a legal requirement, it's good manners and morally right thing to do. We should acknowledge sources and give credit where it's due and support each other. I 100% agree with you. 100% agree. And I'm always surprised when designers are surprised that I asked for permission, because I just assume, like that everybody asks for permission, but apparently not. So yeah, I mean, like, yes, I've bought the pattern. I paid for that pattern. But I haven't bought the rights to publicly display it. It's like when you've bought a CD. You've bought the right to play that CD in your home. You haven't bought the right to broadcast it publicly. So you can't, use it in a YouTube video or something like that. So yeah, it's all happening. Jack says my cat keeps stealing my yarn. Yep. Jumps up on the, yeah, Louis does that. I have to be really careful when I'm working on the couch. One of the reasons why that yarn for the blanket is in a big crate is I can tip it up and put the clipboard on the top and he can't get into it. So yeah, pets and yarn, like seriously. Snowy didn't care about yarn, and I think I got a bit spoiled by that. Georgie, our old Shih Tzu Cross Maltese, he had a thing for the expensive yarns, trashed a few amazing skeins that he ran off with out in the yard and totally destroyed them. And I sat there with them in my lap and cried and had to throw them in the bin because they were ruined. But yeah, it was, I remember Louis got a 4-ply mink yarn that I had gotten and that I was going to make myself some gloves out of, and like some proper thin gloves. And yeah, so I'm just like, I got used to Snowy not caring about yarn. Louis cares about yarn. Actually, I think Louis cares about being chased, whereas Snowy didn't like being chased either. So Louis loves being chased, so he will just take anything if he thinks you'll chase him for it. And John says, and that's why I have tropical fish. Yeah, they don't care about yarn either, do they? I mean, they might care about it, but they can't take it. So yeah. Other news that has happened since our last chat is I'm starting a podcast with Crochet with Claire. It's going to be called Yarny Girls. It will appear on the podcasting places for audio, and we have started a YouTube channel for it. So if you want to go and subscribe to that and help us out and kick us over some goals, that would be amazing. We're not planning on starting it until next year, so sort of early next year, which sounds far away, but as it's December here, we're talking weeks, okay? Like weeks, maybe 2 months-ish. I don't know. We've still got to do some recordings and some testings and some stuff. And then, but we are good to go and we have got some plans. So, I've just got a horrible feeling I've just done too many of those. I have, yes. But yeah, so if you want to go and help out that's Yarny Girls. So it's youtube.com/@ like the @ sign, Yarny Girls. Freaky said, I subbed after my crazy question on Facebook. Yeah, I know it's perplexing. Thank you, Jackie, for the link. I know it's perplexing, like subscribing to a channel that has no content, but it's us and there will be content. So, yeah, it'll be fun. We're very much looking forward to it. It'll been something we talked about for a really long time, and we decided to pull the trigger and get it done because we just kept talking about it, and we were having these conversations that we could have totally recorded as content. And then we were like, oh my God, that could have been a thing. And it's going to be short. It's not hour-long things. It's short. Well, we're going to trial it being short anyway and see how that all works. And, we're going to test some things and see what works and what doesn't work and go from there. Neither of us have done a podcast before, like an audio podcast. So, we've got some learning to do. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. And then we'll put the videos, because we'll record the video as well. So we'll put the videos up on the YouTube channel. So, yeah, it will be some fun. Freaky says nothing wrong with rehashing the topics just for us. Yeah, we started writing them down so that we can have conversations again. John says it's just like YouTube with those cameras. I mean, yeah, technically we're going to use the same StreamYard software that we use when we're together anyway, so that's not going to be new. But we're just going to pull the audio, like we'll edit it, then strip out the audio for the audio areas, and then use the video and audio for the video areas. Yeah, it's going to be fun. A bit nerve-wracking, but fun. So, yeah. What do you guys think of that? Will you guys listen to another podcast? Even if it's a short one? And that's a good question. Like, does a short podcast bother you? Personally, I love both, but for different things. Like if I'm just like got to be in the car for 10 minutes or something, I get annoyed if it's an hour-long podcast and I've got to pause it and get out and, whereas, if it's a nice short one, that's good for that. All right, here we go. That moment when you think you've done too many. No, there we go. It's been a long time since I've knitted on a live stream, and it feels kind of alien. I'm not going to lie. It definitely feels weird not having like the entire table covered in craft. No, mate, that's way too big for you to carry. He's now looking at Louis come in and is looking at the bag with the 15 balls of yarn in it. Like, he's like, I'm sure I could take that. I could take it. Louis growling at something. I'm just going to go and check what that is, because he doesn't growl. Hang on. No idea what he's growling at, but there's something outside he does not like the look of. So the only other time Louis growled like that, there was a blue tongue in the lounge room because someone had left the side door open and a blue tongue lizard came inside. So I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. So, yeah. But it was something outside the door. So whatever it was outside. So it's not inside. So I'm okay with that. I don't like it when there's things in my house. Oh dear. Let me have a look here at the chat what I missed while you guys were you being naughty while I was away? Casey, welcome to the chat. Yeah, probably a ghost. Yeah, ghost yarn. Let me just check what I've got to do here. Yep. Oh, and I'm also like leaning my hands forward. Because I'm used to having to reach over a whole pile of things. I'm just I've got to find out what's open that's making all the noises. There we go. Kill that. Okay, that should stop the noises now. I don't know if you guys can hear the noises. I'm finding the noises distracting. So just like notifications that you know, Tim and Abby are having a conversation in our family chat. What am I doing? One more. And you guys can see my hands and everything enough? Freaky says, just you and hear the odd bark. Okay. All right. That's okay. So the computer mustn't be sharing the pinging because it was like ping, 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 ping. It was very annoying for me. So I've killed it now. Freaky's off to make a cuppa. I might even have some more tea. I should have grabbed my yarn bowl out to put this in. I'm going to go and grab it. It's just right here. Because I am having to, it's not going to stay in there, is it? No, it hates me. I've got it in my Knit Picks ebony yarn bowl with, like you've got some options. So you can either feed it straight through, which I can't, or you can loop it around. We'll see if the looping around works. Pinball games. Yes, I think. Where are we? Heddle's all threaded. Time for a shoulder break. Yeah, that's a big task. That's a big task. I'm waiting on. I've been trialing a little loom for someone, and I'm waiting on a variation thing to happen because it's not been my friend. So yeah. But it's been a while since I've woven as well. I want one of those Saori looms, honestly. Like it's been a big, like I've just bought all the things I need for the new computer and I'm just waiting on everything to arrive. You can kind of see the pile of stuff starting to pile up here. And then I also want air conditioning for this room. So, you know, that's another expense. And then after all of that, then maybe a Saori loom will be in my future. I would love that. I've got so much stuff I could use in it that I'm just like, oh my God, hello, like table runners and we've got a big, beautiful timber table and it looks amazing with table runners. So I'm like, I want to make some table runners and fabric because I like to make bags and things. So fabric for bags and yeah, I'm very excited. Oh, did I lose anything there? Nope. Lucky. And I'll say her color change here, I didn't even realize it happened, but it's happened like back here. So you can see it went from sort of the dark to the light. And there's no like, some people when they get their color changes, they leave a little white section. There's no white section. It's just all color all the way. I love it. Hi Dolores, welcome to the chat. Running late, was just going to pop in and miss the first bit, but you're showing Beersheba Fiber, so I knew I had to go back watching the first bit at 2 times speed. Enjoy, Dolores. Enjoy. I actually know what that means now, thanks to watching Emma at the retreat. That's awesome. Dolores is catching up. Loved all the purchases. Excited to hear about the new channel. And Christmas gift knitting sounds great. All caught up. Awesome. That's great. I actually do that as well. Like I'll jump into a live stream, and if I've missed a bit, like as long as I haven't missed like an hour, if I've missed a bit, you know what? I've done it for an hour as well. Depending how they speak, sometimes I'll actually go up to 2 times speed. Or even 2.5 times speed. But there's one creator that even at normal speed, he speaks quite quickly. So I'm like, I can get to 1.5 for him. And so, yeah, just listening and, you know, every now and again, you'll pause it and drop the speed back down and listen to that thing again. But yeah, it's a super useful tool to be able to catch up on stuff. I actually consume a lot of content at double speed. People quite often say to me, how do you watch so many YouTube videos and listen to so many things? It's like, double speed, baby. That's how I do it. So yeah. Dolores says 2 times speed. Husband walked in past and laughed. He thinks I'm nuts. Look, I do it all the time. I just it's just, you know, sometimes it's just what you got to do. Especially if I'm like scrubbing through something, because it's like I remember I learned a thing from this video, but I can't remember where it is, but I know it's in here. I'll throw it onto like double speed until I hear you know, the part I remembered, and then I'll jump back and then put that back to normal speed and re-listen. But yeah. I think I missed something, Ruth. I missed something there. So if you want to, I mean, unless it's for somebody else and it's not even for me, but if you want to tell me the context, that would be awesome. My brain's a bit fried at the moment. I've been dealing with this like raspy throat thing. Today is a lot better than last week, but it's annoying me. And it's, you know, it's messing with my concentration a little. But update, yesterday I was at my exercise physiologist appointment, which I go to semi-regularly. Well, it's regularly, it's just spread out. And I got personal bests, and I was able to do things I haven't been able to do before. And I was just like, but now I'm sore. My arms are real angry at me and would love to be detachable arms and to be left alone somewhere. But my brain is super happy that I was able to do these things. So, yeah. It's very nice when you see the thing that you're doing is actually working for the end goal. So, because my end goal with the exercise physiologist is not to lose weight. My end goal is to get my strength back and to be able to do things like not be afraid of a flight of stairs and be able to stand for a few hours and little things like that. So I'm building strength. So I'm enjoying that. I'm telling you like chipmunk voices. Oh my gosh. I was like, as a kid, like not as a kid, but as like a teenager trying to work out how they did the chipmunks thing. Like, because I could work out how they sped it up to get it fast, but I could never work out how they slowed it back down again to get it at the, like the high pitched squeak voices, but at the right vocal pacing. So yeah, that was always something that was always like, why is it so? Oh, what have I done here? I've done the pearl too early. Holly Alderson, welcome. I always say Anderson, I'm sorry. It's my maiden name, so it's like the name I'm used to seeing everywhere. But yeah, just I don't know, I feel weird not crocheting on the blanket like the queen. It feels so bizarre that it's done. I was chatting with someone about it and they're like, so what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, I'm going to make something else. And they're like, yeah, but you've been working on this thing forever. Like, definitely feels that way. And it kind of feels weird. Like I see it like, because it's on the it's currently on the couch in Tim's office. And I see it in there and I think, what's it doing there? That's going to get wrecked. I'm going to lose stitches. And I remember, no, it's finished. It's allowed to be there. So, and it's kind of nice that he wants it there too. So, yeah. We had to have some discussions with Luke. I still haven't tried fitting it in the washing machine yet. I should probably do that. Although I'm not hopeful. I put in just a standard doona from a standard queen size, comforter. I don't know what they're called everywhere. Just in the washing machine the other day, and it barely fit. And I'm thinking, this is bigger. Maybe it's not as like just puffy. So, or as fluffy. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see, because I think it needs a wash. Actually, I know it needs a wash. There's no thinking about it. It absolutely needs a wash. And there was a piece of advice in the pattern, which is like my stock standard advice. If you're working on something with repeats, throw your stitch markers in for every repeat. It will save you. And when I was first starting the sort of, the little lacy bits here, I don't know if you can see them very well. I'd forgotten to do some of the yarn overs, and I was able to work it out before I got too far. I was able to tink back a few stitches because it was not working out number-wise right. John, you are correct. It's not finished until it's blocked and washing is blocking. Yes, you're right. It's technically not finished. Yes, I have completed the stitching and woven in the ends. So, what are you all working on? Just out of curiosity, is anybody making Christmas presents? Or have they made Christmas presents because they're, smarter than me and have already done it? Because we have this discussion every Christmas, don't we, about how I have not started whatever Christmas project I wanted to do until December. And I thought I was so on top of it. But what it was is I decided to add something in. It's not like I'd been planning to do like the blanket for my dad for Christmas or the beanies for my brother. But yeah, I'm doing them now. Sally says, don't make me laugh. Gosh. Holly has a question. I have a knitting question. I want to knit a bag from the bottom up. Are there any good YouTube tutorials? I have no idea, Holly. I would Google knitted bags and just have a little look. I'd hazard a guess that most bags are knitted from the bottom up. It would make sense to me to do it bottom up. But I have no idea. You'd have to check. I've never knitted a bag. Not hand knit anyway. I've machine knit one. Machine knit a pile. Saw your post on Yarny Girls. Haven't watched it yet. That's all right. The posts are all that there are. There's no actual content over there yet. We're just getting it all set up. Leanne says that she's working on a Secret Santa gift that she needs to have done by tomorrow morning. Right. John soldering a new computer together. So that is awesome. Francis says, I wanted to make Christmas gifts, but haven't even started planning yet. Yeah, do you know what? My Cricut is great for last minute Christmas gifts too, because you can like add people's names to things like really easily. So yeah. Jennifer, welcome to the chat. I've made 2 Musselburgh hats and some fingerless gloves this week. Fantastic. Freaky says, I've never actually heard of a bag being made top down unless you're thinking of changing well, no, because you could do like from a strap point over and then around, but yeah, I think it would be top down. Holly says, I haven't found any good ones yet. Does it have to be on YouTube? That's my next question. There's zillions of them over on Ravelry, but they probably don't have video tutorials. Oh my gosh, Molly has made 45 Christmas gnomes for my daughter's school class. heart-shaped gnome hanging ornaments. They sound amazing. Emma from Gamer Widows is amazing at making ornaments, and she shares links for some ornaments every now and again, and they look adorable. Tammy Brand, welcome to the chat. It's good to see you. Hi. Most of my Christmas stockings are gifts. Oh, that's right, because you were making was it 12 or 13 stockings for everybody? So yeah, that is awesome. They're definitely gifts. Or giftish. Okay, Holly says, I'm so new to knitting. I think I need a visual tutorial. That's really, really going to narrow it down. Maybe what you could do is you could go and find a pattern that you like on Ravelry, and then look at tutorials on how to do the different techniques. You know, like if they've got a particular way they cast on the bottom of the bag, you could probably find a tutorial for that. Some of the designers, even in their patterns, will put a link to a tutorial that helps with the thing. So yeah, but I think if you're really going to be narrowing it down, a lot of designers don't put tutorials up because then they can't sell the pattern, or it's much harder to sell the pattern. So yeah, which is another reason why sometimes it's tricky to get designers permission to use their patterns in my live streams like this, because they're not free patterns, and then, you know, there's a risk, which is why I try not to describe too much what I'm doing. So yeah. Hang on. You know when you cut like the little bit of skin on the top of your finger? Like, it hurts. I banged it. Knit Spin Girls, welcome to the chat. Just popping in for a few minutes while I wait for my dad. Oh, you're on the GC. What a terrible day to be on the GC, honestly. It's rainy. Well, when the fan blows directly at your cup, your tea gets cold really fast. I just wanted to point that out. Luckily, I have a tea thermos full of steaming hot tea that I can warm that up with. Oh, that's better. I mean, it's fine cold. I mean, it's drinkable, but it's better hot. You know, there's some teas that work cold. This one is really probably not one of them. Like, really? I bought so I went pretty hard in the Amazon sales because I was buying I bought some Christmas presents, but I also bought all the stuff I need for the new computer setup. And I was like, well, if I'm buying things for the desk, you know how that goes, buying things for the desk, then I may as well. And one of the things I've bought is this. It's my new favorite toy, right? It's an iPad stand, and it's got little rubber bits in here and rubber bits here, and it's really solid. I mean, it's a little bit of a beast to sort of maneuver around, but the advantage is when you set it somewhere, it stays there. And I love that you've got like the gap. So if you've got your iPad standing upright, because you can put your iPad either way, if you're standing it upright, you can still have the charger in. I know, small things amuse small minds. But it was I don't know, like $15 or something. And I'd been struggling with my iPad all through the Queen, years struggling with the iPad. Oh, there's also a rubber bit here too. And that's not the actual, that's just the front cover of the pattern. So yeah, it's solid. And I mean, my iPad's still in its case because I keep mine in a case. So yeah, but you can't see the page I'm working on. But yeah, it's super awesome. So it's just like one of those spurges. Holly says, I have that one. I really like it. Yeah, it's look, I've got a lot of U green stuff, like the UGREEN. And I love all their cords. I like everything I've gotten from them. I've been super happy with, and it's been solid, and it hasn't died unless I did something to it. So yeah. Francis, I would think most designers would appreciate the free advertising you're providing. I personally have an opinion on exposure. People die from exposure. And if they don't know me and they don't know how cautious I am at not sharing their pattern, and while you can see what I'm doing with my hands most of the time, I'm not describing how to do it. So I'm still encouraging people to go back and look at the pattern and buy the pattern. Like this one, if you want to have a little foray into your first lace, this is a perfect one for that. I'm using a self-striping yarn, so it makes it even easier because there's no color changing, but you could totally do this in a single color. There's no reason why it needs to be done in multiple colors. But it looks amazing, and it was designed to have 4 colors, but like wider stripes. So it uses up minis really nice, or 50 grams skeins of color, or 20, I think it was 25 grams of skein of sport weight is what I had it with it originally. But yeah, it's look, I understand why they don't say yes. I really do. I get it. I just don't like it when they don't say anything. That's what I don't like. I've gone to the effort to ask permission for something, and you haven't denied permission, but you've just basically left me on red. And I don't like that. But in saying that, some designers are super busy. So, it's one of those things. Kelly says, I enjoy device accessories that actually think about function. Oh, me too, Kelly. Me too. Like I've just had to, because I dropped my phone, and I was really lucky that it was the case that broke. My phone was 100% fine. It got a good solid drop from a decent height onto concrete. And I was like, fell out of my handbag and hit the driveway is what happened. And then I found this because it's an older phone, and there's not heaps of cases around. And it's not super old, but it's not new, right? It's a couple of years old. But I liked that because a lot of them just have the big cutout there, so there's no protection. And so I like that they've gone to the effort. They've got a spot for the speaker, and they've got a spot for your charging cord. All your plugs, all your buttons are there, and they've got some spots up the top as well. Love that. The thing I particularly like is I can close the camera, and you can feel it click in, and it's got a little bit of texture to it, but Abby's going to see if she can pick me up a ring for it, because little hands, huge phones. But yeah, so again, they thought about it. And I love that I can protect the camera, which for me is something that I freak out about, because many years ago I had a phone where I'd been using it, like taking photos with it, put it down on the table, like gently put it down on the table. I think that's one of Abby's hairs. Found one of Abby's hairs in my knitting. That's weird. I'm just double checking something. No, we might just hide that one. And I just put it down, and it was just face up, and so I could see the camera, and I heard a noise, and I looked over, and the lens just disintegrated. And I'm sort of sitting there thinking, holy crap. And then I took it to Samsung, and they were convinced I'd done something to make it happen. And I'm like, no, it was just on the table. And next thing you know, I hear this noise, and I just watched it just shatter. And so they took my phone. I had no phone for 3 weeks, and I had to pay for it to be fixed. And it was just because they don't do the repairs locally. We have to send it to Sydney. I'm like, but yeah. So having protection. Am I doing the right? No, I'm not doing the right thing. Having the protection of being able to cover that camera when I'm not using it is super awesome. The one time the one thing I've noticed that I have to really keep an eye on is like in the middle of the night, I use it for like for navigating the house. I flick the torch on to go, midnight walk to the bathroom kind of thing. And I have to remember to slide this because I've like turned the light on. I'm like, what? It's not working. And then I remember the torch is behind the same cover. Yeah. Yeah, Francis. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, as a musician working for and look, there's different levels. There's you have to make the decision yourself, and decide if doing something for free is actually worth it for you. Because there are times where I've done something for free for a creator that's led to paid work. It was like a trial run or a test or something. Or I needed to test out a process and offered it. Like, hey, look, I want to test this out to sell to other people. Would you let me test it on you for free? And so, you've got to decide if that works for you or not. And that's what these designers are doing. They're deciding if it works for them, for me to do this. I mean, I paid for the patent. I never asked for the patent itself for free. I've always done that. I just want permission to sit here and work on it while I chat with you guys. So yeah. And they may not know me. They may not know if if I'm legit or not. And and they may have been burnt or bitten by somebody who asked for the same permission and then went ahead and did a full tutorial ripping off their entire patent. Totally seen that happen. So yeah, I get it. I just don't like it when they don't respond. Like, any response is fine. You've got the right to make your decision one way or another. I just like a response. But anyway, I'm probably asking for too much, truth be told. Check my expectations. I am, learning that my expectations aren't always the usual. The usual tea. Oh gosh, my throat is starting to be on fire. Talking. All the talking, you guys. But I tell you what, I'm loving this yarn. Like the second it arrived and I squished the ball, I was just like, oh, I totally have to cast this on right now. And I'm like, I can be finished this project. Like, I'm like, I had to get permission to use it for today's live stream, but we probably won't get to use it for next week because I'll be done. Which is kind of sad, but not sad. Although I could probably, put it aside and save it for next week's live stream and work on Dad's blanket or my brother's hats or, what other things that I need to be doing. Have I done too many? I did, yes. That goes there. I mean, that would be smart, right? Rather than trying to get onto another designer for another pattern. I've also got like approval to do a brioche knitted scarf. But it's a big project and I just I love it and I love that I have permission for it. But it's a giant project and I just don't know if I'm ready to commit to another big project. Yeah, large project like shy. Yes, that's me right now. Bit nervous about committing to the big projects. So, the blanket for my dad is a little knee rug, which for some people that's a big project, but because what I've been working on, not. So, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, maybe I should just do that. Maybe I will put this aside and be a good girl and put it down and work on something else and let's use this again next week as well. I do plan to continue it's December. Obviously we've got Christmas coming up. Let me just check my calendar. But I am intending on continuing the live streams over the break. Calendar, Chantelle. I need the December calendar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. I might. We'll have to wait and see for the one on the 22nd. So the one closest to Christmas. But other than that, I think we'll do live streams all the time. So yeah, Kelly says it's a bit tricky. It needs to be simple enough project to not require your full attention and permission. Yeah. So yeah. So I actually have a video teaching how I do my continental. I'll get to some knit stitches and then I'll lift it up and show you. But yeah, there's actually whole videos of I think there's 2 of the different stitches that I do continental. So but just let me just get to a plain knit section and then I will show you. Okay, so it's just, I'll bring my hands back. There we go. Oh, hands out of shot, sorry. That's it. But yeah, so there's whole videos there for you can go and learn how I learned continental. Lisby says she needs to get back to her cosmic cowl. Yeah, who's got a project that they've put aside for whatever reason? It's in the naughty corner, or it's just been, I've got other projects I've got to get finished. What do you need to do to get going on that again? So what would motivate you to pull that out of the naughty corner or to get it, back on your hooks? Knit Spin Girls, I am using, I can't remember which, I don't have the tag, but it's a color ball from HalfBaked HandDyed. It is one of her long color repeat sock weight 8 plies. So I've got a link for her Etsy store. I know she currently doesn't have any of her 8 ply color balls available. They do take a little while. But keep an eye out. I know she's working on more because they're very popular. Lisby says, I need to frog 2 very long rows to fix something I don't want to. Okay. So why don't you start by frogging 10 stitches and then put it aside? Rather than looking at the giant mess of it all in your brain's all like, I hate this, it's not fair. I've already done all this, now I'm going to have to undo it. Just undo 10 stitches and then go and work on another project. And then come back another time and just do another 10 stitches. There's nothing to say you have to sit down and tinker it all at once. I finished 2 crochet beanies sitting in my whip basket from last Christmas. That is awesome. That is fantastic. I love it. I have a 3/4 finished jumper for my husband, put it down about 10 years ago. Honestly, should frog it and restart it as I can't even find the pattern. Then yes, you need to reclaim that wool, Francis. Reclaim it, give it a little wash, reskein it, and get it going again. Get it out of your whip basket. Take it out of the brain of it being a whip. If you don't even have the pattern anymore, you don't have the option to continue. So just ditch it. Let's have a look. What else? The frogging isn't the problem. It's the redoing it. But if you frog it back, then you're just ready to redo it when your brain's ready for it, or when there's someone there to help you if you need help with it. But if they come over or your brain's in a good space for it, then you have to sit and frog it. Then that's an additional step that you could be working on now. You can get it ready for when your brain's ready for the next step. Dolores says, I need to frog 3/4 of a jumper knit with hand spun held double as I ran short of yarn. I'll come up with a solution once I finish gift knitting. Yeah. Ruth says, I still have 2 sacred spaces to do. Yeah. Lisby says it's a crochet blanket, much easier to frog. Yes. Yep. Frogging crochet is usually easier than, like, if you're frogging knitting, it's easy enough if you're doing a full frog, but if you're tinking the knitting, like if you've got to just go back a row or two and you're not just pulling the needles out and starting again, or even like, you know, is it worth going back and putting in a lifeline and then pulling the needles and going back and start, you know, like you've got options with knitting as well. I'll tell you, that's one thing I missed about the queen, is if you make a mistake on the queen, it was easy enough just to fix that section. You didn't have to pull everything out unless it was like way back at the beginning of a row. So yeah, that was one thing I loved about the queen. You know, I'm actually looking at my next mosaic. I'm tossing up what I'm going to do next because I love doing it, and I'm going to do another one, not as big because we need another, because I'm giving this throw blanket to my dad. I'm going to keep this light colored one, the spring frost, but we still need one more for the lounge room. So I'm still going to need another blanket out there. So I still need one more, but I'm going to do a throw size, not a queen size. Lisby says you're making too much sense. Sorry, Lisby. Sorry. Having finished the weather blanket, I have some cotton left over. I was thinking of making a small queen based blanket with the leftovers, just the small diamond repeats. Cool. Is that the simple queen? Is that what that is? Or are you going to be doing like a total John variation? Oh, hang on. I'm at the beginning of the round again. Where am I up to? That's a tip if you don't already know it, is when you're doing something with 11 billion stitch markers, use something really different for the beginning of your round. So I've got blinglets for all the rest, and then just a big fat lockable for the beginning of the round so that I can't miss that it's the beginning of the round. Going to do a variation, skipping the big diamonds in the middle and just doing the small ones all the way across. Okay, that sounds amazing. I've seen some beautiful versions of the queen that have had both the stripes, like because where I did all the purple, I've seen ones where people changed the colors of the actual like first and second rows. So that'd be a good way to use up scraps too. I think it'll be beautiful, John. Absolutely beautiful. Where are we? And have all random colors. It's just going to be scrappy. Yes, that'll be amazing. Can't wait to see you working on that one, John. I've actually got surprisingly little left over from my queen. I do have a couple of 100 grams of that purple, but hardly any of anything else because I did use it on the back side of the border. But I have another project that I'd put aside because I've lost the pattern for it, but I think I can re-download it. And it was a like giant hexagonal blanket with little triangles in between the hexagonals. And that went into the naughty corner. So that one could get done. That'd actually get rid of a massive box of stuff if I could get that project done, because it's taking up an entire, like, you know, the big Knit Picks boxes that they ship. I've got the whole project just in there. And I would hazard to get, I've done all of the giant the big hexies. I'm just down to the small triangles and then joining it. And I've got to weave in all the ends. I did not weave the ends in as I go. So that was a bad choice, bad decision there, Chantelle. I know I left long tails on each of the actual motifs because that's what the pattern said to do, but I've left it because it's like there's multiple colors in each motif. I can't think of the name, but I'll find it and I'll put it in the fun zone. So yeah. But we will see how it goes. And this particular one, like there's it's a 4-stitch, 4-row repeat, and you just keep going till you've got a certain amount of yarn left over, and then you've got other instructions. But yeah, do you have an app to put your pattern on? Yes, I use Knit Companion. I use the free version. I don't use the paid version. So yeah. I like having the little highlighter line where you can put what row you want. It's perfect for when you're doing lace. Love it. Oh, Holly, I am making hang on, what's it called? A reversible Listado cowl. So it's a bit crunched up. It's not wavy or anything. It's just beautiful mix of knit and lace. It's from Laura Nelkin. The link is in the description. So if you want to come back and have a look, you can. It's just a beautiful piece to work on. And we did one for the Mystery Lace Club. And when I saw this yarn come through it was one of my big wool show purchases. It took me about 5 seconds to cast on. Well, it's longer than that. It was maybe 10 minutes. 10 minutes to cast on because I had to find needles and I had to, add the pattern to my iPad, all the hard things. But Jackie's right. Sometimes you just know instantly what that yarn's going to be. And the second I saw the yarn, I knew it has to be a cowl. And I wanted a cowl that had multicolour stripes. And then I was just like, I've already got a pattern for something. Hang on. Yeah, I love the colours too. It's some beautiful shades of blue. It really is like 4 shades of blue that I'm just loving working with. We'll go back to this colour next. So, and I like that we've got the longer colour repeats available as well. So with HalfBaked HandDyed, she does a long colour repeat 8-ply. Oops, I've done something wrong here. Hang on a second. 2, 4, 6. Oh yeah, all right. I did too many of those. Try again. Nope, there's still not enough. Oh, I've missed a yarn over somewhere. Let me have a look. Let's go back to the beginning. Okay. Alrighty there. No, there should be 2 yarn overs. There's 2 yarn overs. Hang on. I don't know what I've done wrong there. Hang on. Sorry, guys. It will bug me if I don't fix it. And it could be something so simple as I'm just miscounting. No. I don't know what I've done. I think I've just got 1 stitch too few there. Yeah, I love the colors as well. I'm like, should I just keep going and fix it later? I'll probably have to go down and I think I've worked out where it is. It's down there somewhere. Anyway, I'll tink that back later and fix that one. I'll put a marker on it. And if I was a marker, where would I be? Something that'll stand out. Alrighty. Because that is I need to sit down and concentrate and read the knitting, and that's not a YouTube job. I love that you let us see the mistake and take your time fixing it. I'm not going to take my time fixing it. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to go back and fix it later when I can sit and look at it better. I've got to put different glasses on, so I'm just looking at it, trying to work out where I've definitely made the mistake in there somewhere. It's missing a stitch, so I'll go back. I actually love Laura Nelkin's. She has a craftsy class for fixing your lace knitting mistakes. And every time, I will go and grab a foam mat and I will drop it out and pin it out so that you can re-knit it all back in. Laura Nelkin was who put me onto Chow Goo in the first place all those years ago. So, yeah. I know where it is. I've missed a yarn over there. 2 rows back, there's a yarn over missing. That's gonna suck. Yeah. Yes. Oh well. At least I've worked out what the problem was, and I should have picked it up before, but I didn't. But that's all right. I'll go through and fix that when I can concentrate a bit harder. There are things that I just can't do on camera, guys. I'm sorry. There's some concentration levels I just need to be, by myself, fixing it up, pulling my hair out, not worrying if I'm got PG language. Because it probably won't be. Truth be told. But yes, there is a mistake and I will go back and fix it. I promise. Meanwhile, I'm working on sock number 2 and just learned that I didn't take notes for sock 1. Oh no! I have no idea how many rows I did. I mean, sock 1's still there. You can count the rows, right? Oh gosh, what a mess. I hate it when I do that. I've actually frogged entire projects because I did that. Didn't take notes for a sleeve or something. It's oh well, it's becoming sleeveless. Yeah, absolutely we do, Leanne, don't we? Yeah, but I don't like counting rows. I know, me neither. It's definitely not my favorite part. It's all good, Sally. Everyone was very well behaved. No one was naughty. I'm actually disappointed in them. They did not take advantage of being, less moderated. I was watching a comedian on TikTok or something. He's an Australian comedian who's just been to the US, and he was talking about how he went to one of those poolside bars, and he's gotten out of the pool and he's walked over to the bar and he's ordered cocktails, and they've handed him cocktails in glasses, right? Now, we all know in Australia, glass and pools don't go together. So there's rules. If there's a poolside bar in Australia, your cocktails come in plastic. They don't come in glasses. They come in plastic. And he was just are we allowed to have glass here? And the comedian was the bartender just looked at him and was just yeah, you are. But yeah, it was, oh my gosh, I'll have to see if I can find it. It was so funny because it was just like, it's one of those things, like, we are heavily regulated with some things in Australia, and mostly safety stuff. Most of it I don't even, like, notice it until someone points it out. That's like, hey, what? John O'Brien says Australians can't be trusted with glass. Yeah, he's got a joke right at the end about the glass. But yeah, we can't be trusted with glass near pools. Like, so that's more what it is. We're allowed to have glasses elsewhere, but just not at the pool. So yeah. Oh my gosh. But it's just one of those things I didn't even consider that it would be an issue. Like, yeah. Oh, Ruth, that's great news. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for sharing. Ruth's house is back in order after the hurricane. So that is good. Francis says I really need a lower table for my loom. I've got a loom, like my rigid heddle has got its own stand. Glass, alcohol, and pools don't go together well. Yeah. It's not usually a good day out. Oh, we're back at the beginning of the round. It feels weird. Like, oh, look, we've just finished another row. Like, seriously, we get 3 rows done on the Queen. Oh my gosh. Wow. And we're nearly through this dark blue and onto the pale blue. So, yeah. I don't want to get, I don't mind going around to where the mistake is. A mistake's there. It's in that repeat. So I don't mind going around to there, but I'm going to stop there because I don't want to add too many stitches over where I'm going to have to tink things out and fix it up. But I don't mind going another half row, if that's all right with you guys. And it looks like it was the age-old question of Chantelle forgot to yarn over again. Luckily, I can jerry-rig that. I should actually just be able to drop down that particular stitch, add in the yarn over next to it, and then bring it back up, I think. We'll see. We'll see. I won't promise. We won't promise me. This is a new to me table loom propped up on my workbench, just a little high. Yeah. Oops. What have I got here? I forgot the yarn over. Didn't I? It'll be the bane of my existence for this particular one, getting me back into knitting lace. It's been a long time since I've knit any lace. I actually think this is a really good little like tester just to get back into it because it has been a long time since I've done knitting that was more than just a bit of stockinette. So yeah, it's like a little palette cleanser, maybe not be the term I'm looking for, but just a little taster just to get me back into the swing because I want to knit another lace shawl. Like I want to knit my shanklet. So with all those beautiful skeins of yarn that I've got, but I don't want it to be the first lace project I've done in like 4 years or whatever it is. We are more regulated in many ways, but we know where we stand and we're free to pretty much do what we like within those rules. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And usually those regulations are safety issues. Like, the fencing around pools and stuff like that. That all came like because there's a lot of like fencing around pools is a contentious topic in different countries of the world because they're like, it's hideous, it's ugly, and it's just like, do you know what's uglier? The reason why Australia passed the pool fencing laws, that's uglier. But yeah, so it's yeah, usually for the laws to have been passed, something dramatic had to have happened. It's not usually just an arbitrary, okay, we're bored, let's pass some more, laws to restrict what people can do. Someone has died, someone has like groups of people have been seriously injured, or, you know, it's not done lightly. No, that's all right, Dolores. Anytime to talk about yarn, absolutely. Sorry to jump back. Are you using the Attic 24 yarn kit to make the blanket being released in the crochet along? So the yarn that I received today, yes, I'll be making. I'm just getting to a point. I just knit to the stitch after my stitch marker so I don't lose it. I love having the bowl. I'm just going to bring this up here. So yes, I've bought this kit to work on the spring frost blanket. So if you order it now, you've still got time to get the kit in time for because I don't think the first clue or the first section of the pattern is released until early January. I think it took. I wish Deb was in the chat. I can't remember how. I can't remember how long it's taken, but it's been quick, like a week and a half, 2 weeks, for the yarn to arrive from when I ordered it. This whole kit came out to be around the 75 Australian dollars mark, including shipping from the UK, which I'm 100% okay with. 15 skeins, it's 15 balls of yarn in a, like for a project for $75, including shipping. That's fine with me. I've got no issues. I know some people will. That's Australian dollars. If you're in the US, it'll be tons cheaper because Australian dollars are terrible at the moment. But yeah, this looks a really fun project, and it'll be a nice little one for the, you know, it's a home project. So, but yes, I'm going to make the desired kit with that. Long answer to your short question. There's nothing like jumping in the deep end. My first lace project after learning how to block was a 72-inch circular shawl and 2 block. My first lace project was Boo Knit's Fragile Heart on lace weight and beads. That was my first lace project. I jumped in the deep end as well. Dolores says, I was trying really hard to be responsible in knit projects from the stash, but maybe. Yeah, I don't know how long the kits are usually available for. I've only just recently started buying her kits. So I can't tell you how long the kits are available for to give you more time to decide. Oops, I forgot to yarn over there, didn't I? Is that 2 together? Yep. So yeah, but I mean, I think it's pretty decent value for what it is, honestly. Deb says we got our orders from the Wool Warehouse in less than 2 weeks. Okay, so you still have time, even with slower shipping for Christmas, to get your order before the cowl starts. I don't even know if it's a cowl. But it's just like, it probably is a cowl. I don't even know. I'm probably not thinking of it as a cowl because I failed the last cowl, which was my queen. So I'm just going to work on it, but I've got other projects to get started before Christmas. And also Claire's doing a Christmas release as well. It's like she does is it Christmas Eve or Christmas night pattern. So I want to see what that is too. So yeah, but I definitely want to get Dad's one done before Christmas and Beanie's done before Christmas and some other bits and bobs done before Christmas. There we go. But yeah, I'm going to do it, but probably not on camera because, yeah, just because. Freaky says, I was thinking of getting a fiber of the month, but not sure about I like the idea of paying a full month ahead. Sounds risky. Look, Freaky, as someone who has run a club, the risk is ours, honestly. Like, what if you don't like it and you complain about it? You know, I think there are clubs that expect you to pay 3 months ahead. So I think a month ahead is fine. But look into the club, make sure that they've run before, see what other people have said, see if you like the kind of colors they've done historically. There's lots of ways to check out a club before signing up to it. And go from there. There used to be an amazing fiber of the club from Southern Cross Fibers in Australia, and they were fantastic. Like just amazing. All right, I'm going to stop there because I'm at that spot. I can't believe that's half a round done already. How long did that take? Minutes, I tell you. Yeah. But yeah, like absolutely. Some clubs expect you to pay the 3 months in advance. Like you sign up for a 3-month club, you pay for 3 months in advance. It just depends on the club and who's organizing it. Because like the reality is they need to order in the stock well before then. They're out of pocket already. And so you know, that's the catch with the club is the person running the club has to order in everything well earlier than a month ahead if they're going to get dyed, dried, packaged, and ready to ship to you on a specific date. Knitspin Girl's got to go. Have fun. Holly says, do you think it would be a bad idea to mix superwash and non-superwash merino in the same project? I don't know if it's a bad idea. I think you need to understand some different things. It has to be hand washed. There's no way you'll be able to machine wash that. So it has to be hand washed. Also, superwash and non-superwash wool act differently. So I would swatch them together and see how they sit. I personally probably wouldn't. But it could also look amazing depending on how you use it. So you're going to have to make sure that however you wash it is that the way that the most delicate yarn needs to be washed. But other than that, you just need to make sure that the yarns are similar enough that they don't like pucker or, you know, stretch out things. So I test it. I would test it, but it's not a yes or no. It's a depends on what you're making. Do we have any other questions? We should open up a question hotline for the Yarny Girls podcast. I actually think we're waiting on approval for our community tab. And I think we're going to be putting a post in there asking you to ask your questions. And we'll have a look. We don't know if we'll answer everyone's questions, but we will have a look and see what kinds of questions people are asking and see if we can help. So, yeah, that would be fun. Not those sorts of questions, Freaky. Your yarny questions. Far out. You don't get to ask any questions. Freaky gets no questions. That's it. Now, John, we've been through this. Is a European sparrow or an African sparrow? Oh man, do you know, like it's at the perfect temperature and it's got the perfect amount of honey and the perfect, like it's the perfect cup of tea, and I just want to enjoy it. I don't know the answer to that question. Yeah, that's right. So non-superwash has to be hand washed. And superwash doesn't have to be hand washed. Superwash has been treated in a way, so it's been coated in chemicals so that it won't felt. Whereas non-superwash has not been coated, and therefore it has to be hand washed, or you risk felting it. So yeah. So if you are adding superwash and non-superwash to a project, you have to hand wash it because you could wreck part of your project. I mean, that's on the list, Deb. We've already added that one to our list. And a few other poke the bear questions. Yeah, that's right. Lol, bear poking. Yeah, I mean, and that's going to be a really fun question because that one says a lot of people who disagree. That's a really contentious question. And like some of the other contentious questions, like how do you stop making wool run, by adding salt to it? No. Like those sorts of questions. But we don't want to do like the contentious questions every week. Or not every week, but we're not doing it weekly, but like every time. But yeah, it's definitely those sorts of questions, the questions that, um, you know, like, can you mix superwash and non-superwash together? And we can talk about what superwash is and things like that. So it's all yarny stuff. And we will talk knitting and we will talk crochet, and it's gonna be amazing because we're gonna get to hear Claire talk about knitting, which I am loving because she doesn't have the freedom to talk knitting on her channel. So it's a bit like what happened with Mikey. Like he went to teach a beginner knitting class on his YouTube channel, and people lost their minds. They lost their minds. Hey, I found my glasses. Yeah, like this is a crochet channel. No, it's Mikey's channel. Like he can do whatever he wants. Claire does knit, yeah. So yeah, it'll be an amazing place where we can talk about all things yarning. So I've had you guys, which has meant that I've been really lucky in that I have always been able to talk about whatever yarn stuff I want to, because that was the expectation on this channel, where it's just yarn craft. It's not one particular thing. And that has I'll be honest, that has slowed the growth of the channel. But what's slowed the growth more on the channel is me only live streaming. That has slowed the growth even more. But making, like, not narrowing it down to crocheters only or knitters only or weavers only or whatever, that some people prefer a place to go to. Like if they're a crocheter and they don't knit, they prefer a place to go to where it's only crochet. And if they're a knitter who doesn't crochet, some knitters feel the same way. Whereas for me, I'm like, I was a crocheter who didn't knit for years. And then I kept seeing patterns of beautiful things I wanted to make so desperately. And I would be incensed and angry that there was not a version for crocheters and they're anti-crochet. And then I sort of sat back and had to talk to myself because I was getting ridiculous. And just went, if I want it so badly, why don't I just learn how to knit? Like if I want to make that thing that looks like that, just learn how to knit. And it was tricky and it took time. And it was just, it's one of those things. Yeah, John, you're right. It does. But originally Claire's channel wasn't called Crochet with Claire. It was called Bob Wilson 123. And she copped it worse then. So it wasn't called anything like that. But yeah. Maru Shard has made it. Excellent. We are nearly done though. Holly says, I'm glad we talk about all the things here, especially since I'm new to knitting and can ask my questions. And thank you to everyone for your help. Absolutely. And that's what I love, is we've all been beginners. We were all beginners at some stage, whether we were beginner crocheters or beginner knitters or beginner crocheters, then beginner knitters. We've all been beginners and we've all had to just change, our attitude on it, I think, is what people have needed to do. Oh yeah, absolutely, Jackie. And it wasn't so much a backlash. Oh yeah, I don't know. But there was discussions. There was people that were just like, well, it's always been this, so why are you changing it? Because people grow and change and their lives change and things change. And sometimes you need a fresh change. Yeah. Yeah. And do you know what, Francis and Holly? I love that I get to talk about whatever yarn craft I want to talk about, because I'm multi-craftual. And if I want to learn a new yarn craft and I want to learn something new, I know you guys will come along for the ride and someone here will know how to do it and help me, and I love that. I absolutely love it. So, yeah, it is just, I think it's important to also like, and you guys are amazing for it. So I'm not like aiming this at you or anything, but I think some people on the internet need to put their manners back in. They forget that what they're typing can be just as harmful as if they walked up to a person in the street and said those words. And sometimes I see things that people have typed and I think, do they realize how cruel that sounds? And because sometimes they don't. Sometimes they've just typed something out and hit send, and they don't. In their brain, they might be thinking, "Ha ha ha ha." Da, 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 da. And it can, there's no tone in type text, or no way to tell what the intended tone is. And I just think some people need to, and even some people are just rude. They just write things that are rude. I don't have time to candy coat this, so I'm going to be a rude prat, is basically my next bit that I add after that. I don't have time to sugarcoat something, or I don't have time to mess around. Is just, I'm going to be rude, so expect rudeness from me. But yeah, Holly, some people are just rude. Yeah, I have no time for rude people. If I get a rude message, I don't reply to it. And if someone writes something rude in my comments, I just delete it. They don't get a response. We love all the yarn things. Yes, we do. And I 100% agree to you, Jackie. Like, I agree to you. I agree to that. Like, I agree. If you're not willing to say it to someone's face, you don't type it in a chat, or you don't type it in a comment. You don't put it in an email. You don't send it in a DM. Yeah, but they have time to tell you why they don't have time. Absolutely. Oh, yes, the whole life story. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Like, and Freaky grew and changed and learned from it, and now you're a good troll. But yeah, it's just the internet, right? It's just people get on their keyboards, and I love the term keyboard warrior, or keyboard commandos, because it's exactly what they are. If you put them in a real life situation, they would never say those words. And so they are protected by the fact that they're in there. They've got this anonymity, and they've, even if they're using their real name, whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's just one of those things, right? It's just one of those things. Not that any of you are that. None of you, I don't think anyone who's currently here in the chat has ever sent me a mean message or written a mean comment that was intended to be mean. Freaky writes some stuff that's, like in borderline, but it's meant in fun, and I know it's meant in fun. So yeah. But no, I don't think anyone here has ever, as far as I'm aware. I've also got like the tightest settings set up on YouTube as well. So there's lots of messages I just don't get. Absolutely, Freaky Geek. We don't want them on webcam. Not wise. If you can't say it to your nana, don't put it on the internet. I suppose that does depend on who your nana is, really. Oh yeah. Look, awesome mods. I honestly think for live streaming, if you are live streaming, you need to have like a group of amazing people, and I'm so lucky that I've got you guys here. So lucky. And not just for like protecting the chat, making sure that the trolls and the spam accounts and stuff are gone, but also you enhance the chat. You enhance it by sharing the links and answering questions, and sometimes I miss stuff, so you bring it to attention again, and it's one of those things. So I really think a good team of moderators is just amazing, honestly. Yeah, and communicating outside with your moderators is another good thing. And I know I'm not as good at that part of it, but I moderate for some people where the only time I ever hear from them is during the stream. And you're just like, okay, righto. Yeah, Freaky does add flavor, Sue. You're right. That's exactly right. Freaky adds flavor. Well, everybody, it is time. I'm going to go and heat up some leftover Indian and have some lunch. And I'm going to sit down. I'm going to fix this knitting. So keep an eye on the fun zone. I'll post a photo. Of once I'll do like some photos rather than a video of what I've got to do. Oh, maybe a video. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I will let you know in the fun zone when it's all done and dusted. And then I'll put that down. And then we will work on it next week so we can have some time between, projects, and I'll go and start another project. I'll work on Dad's because I wanted to have a couch knitting project, which is why I started this, but now I need to make a beanie. So, and my stock standard beanie pattern that I always use is now discontinued, and I don't have a copy of it saved on any of my hard drives. I don't know why, but I just don't. So I have to find another pattern. So I'm going to see you all next week. Those are local caffeinated crafters is on tonight, and I will see you there. I might be a smidge late, but I will be there. And I hope you all have a fantastic week, a fantastic weekend, and get your craft on. See you later.